Breathe that truth in. So there were some guys. They were out on a golf trip. They had shot 18 holes, and they're all done now. They were back into the clubhouse, and they're taking their showers, and they're all getting dressed. And it's like 5 or 6 guys are all getting dressed, and the phone rings. So a guy reaches over, and he puts it on speakerphone. Boop. And the lady comes on. She goes, "Honey, it's me." She says, "Hey, you remember that fur coat that I wanted to get? It's for $500. Can I get it?" He said, "Yeah." And then she goes, "Remember that Mercedes Benz that was $80,000 that we were looking at?" She said, "Can I go pick it up?" He said, "For $80,000, I want to hold all the bells and whistles, but yeah." And she goes, "You know what? Remember that home we were looking at that came off the market, but now it's back on? They got it for $1.5 million. Can I go put an offer on it?" He said, "You know what? Offer them $1.25 and see what they say." She goes, Great. She said, "Honey, I love you. Talk to you later. Bye." And he hangs up the phone. And he looks around, he goes, "Anybody know whose phone that is?" I hope they catch that lady before she goes shopping. I hope. I'm just saying. But speaking of hope, sometimes we look around our world, right? Maybe even in our lives, and we say, we feel like there isn't any hope. We get depressed and we get down. But I say there is a reason to have hope. And I'm going to share with you some ways that we can recognize that and live that. 3 ways we can do that. The first one is this: you got to know your truth. You got to know your truth and live your truth, and that will give you hope. Secondly, you've got to seek the good, and that's easier said than done. And third, you've got to do your inventory, and I'll tell you what that means a little bit later, but we'll talk about it. So first, you got to know your truth, and I love this quote by Gabby Bernstein that says, "Step into your authentic truth, because your truth will light up the world." Your truth will light up the world in being your authentic self. And that's all we got to do. But how many of us hide who we truly are? We're afraid of what somebody else might think. I think I said this before. You don't have to worry about that because they're not thinking about you anyway. They're thinking about themselves, right? But we still do that, don't we? But you got to be your authentic self. The world needs more people who are on fire and passionate about what they love to do, and then show that to the world. That gets people excited. That shows people hope. When you do that, I'll share this story with you. Every time I'm out on this side of town, I live in Tampa. I live in Lutz, but I go to Dunedin, and there's a popcorn shop down there called Harley's. Anybody ever been there? Some of you have? Okay, they're awesome, aren't they? Oh my God, they're so good. So I go all the time, and I go in there, and I've started to speak to this young lady at the counter every time I go in. Well, I'm in there one time a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, and other customers were in there too, but she already knows me, I know her. And they asked about some popcorn, and they said, "What's the OMG?" They have a popcorn named OMG. You probably know, right? Oh my goodness, because it's that good, all right? So I immediately answered when the customer asked. I said, "It's the best thing ever." Right? And we all laughed and we had a good time. And after the customers left, we were talking again, and she told me this. She goes, "I remember you because of your energy." She told me that. And that's true. I know why she said it. Because I wasn't trying to be anybody else. I really do love that popcorn, and I really do love that place. I'm more than likely going to go there when I leave here today. So if you're going, I'll see you there. Right? I'm not being fake, I'm being real. But it's the authenticity that makes it real. And we all have to be authentic about who we are. And people can feel that energy, right? We are the ones that create our lives. We come out and do that. I think that people go out and they ask people all over the world will ask, "What's my purpose? What's my meaning? Why am I here?" We create our meaning. We do. We create it every single day. It's not something out there that gives you meaning. It's in here. It's in here. I say this all the time. Nothing in life has meaning except the meaning that you give it. We give everything meaning. It's up to us. So when you're asking yourself, what's the meaning of your life? Well, what do you want it to be? I'll say this, find something you're passionate about. I teach about this. I have a workshop that I give on this. Finding your passion. There's 3 things you need to do. Find something you love to do. That's number 1. Find something that you would do for free. And I mean that, for free. And find something that you can serve others while you do it. If there's something you do that meets all 3 of those criteria, you found a passion of yours, and you should pursue it. You should do it. And you know what you're doing? You're being authentically yourself when you do that. When I do this, literally what I'm doing right now, when I'm playing music, when I'm speaking, I have many people come up to me and say, man, you just seem so comfortable when you're doing that. You know why? Because I'm supposed to be doing this. I know that. I feel good up here, right? And I know that's not for everybody. Public speaking isn't for everybody, right? We all have those gifts, those talents that are in us, but you got to let them shine. You got to know what yours is. Find that passion and then let it shine. And when you do that, you give yourself hope and then people see it in you and it gives them hope that they can do it too. That's how you give people hope. Know your truth. Know who you are and be authentically yourself. Very, very important. First thing you got to do is that. Second thing is this. We've got to seek the good. And I know that's easier said than done, but I love this quote here. Be a good seeker. Search out, look for, and recognize the good in others. Search out, look for, and recognize the good in others. How many of us can do that? How many of us do that? I want to see if everybody's hands stay up. I asked that question because of this. It's so easy to find the negative, isn't it? But it actually takes work to find the good. It actually you got to think about it. It's easy to be negative. That's why we got to be good seekers. You got to look for it. You got to work at it. When things don't look the way you want them to look, but you got to say, what can I glean from this? What can I learn from this? What's the lesson I can get from this that's happening right now in my life? You got to be a good seeker. Even in the people that you disagree with, right? We don't have to go any further than that, right? Y'all know where I'm going, right? You got to find the good in that too. You got to be a good seeker. And every time you choose to be a good seeker, it matters. Every little instance that you choose matters. Every little thing we do matters. You know, it reminds me of a story that I've told before of a man that was standing on the beach, and the high tide had come in. So it had washed thousands of starfish onto the beach, and there's thousands of them, and he's standing there and he's picking up one at a time, and he's throwing it back into the ocean. And then someone comes up behind him and they say, "Why does it even matter? You can't save them all." He doesn't even look at him. You know what he does? He picks up another one and he throws it back into the water. He said, it mattered to that one. It mattered to that one. Every single thing we do matters. So every time you choose to be a good seeker, it matters. I want you to consciously think about that. How can I be a good seeker? How can I choose to be more positive about my life? I tell this story in my book about 2 sales reps that wake up in Tampa, right? Sales rep number 1 wakes up. He looks out the window. It's pouring down rain. And he says, it's going to be a terrible day of sales because it's pouring down rain. Not going to be able to get in touch with any decision makers. Sales rep number 2 wakes up, looks out the window, pouring down rain. He says, this is going to be a great day in sales because all of the decision makers are going to be in the office because it's raining. Who had the better day? 1 or 2? 2. Why? His consciousness, he chose to be positive about it. When it was time to make the phone call for the decision maker that was in the office because it was raining, who made the call? Number 2. Number 1 said, oh, they're not going to be there. You can choose to be negative. You can choose to be positive. You can choose to be a good seeker in any situation, and it will change your life. And when you choose to seek the good, you give people hope. How can you do this? Do a random act of kindness. Anybody ever do that before? Just buy someone a cup of coffee or something? Pay it forward? Yeah. And what happens? You feel it, don't you? It's a vibration. You feel it. You may have seen someone else do it, and then you want to do it. You're like, let me buy their coffee, the person behind me. It causes a chain reaction of goodness when you seek the good. So I want you to go out and think about that. And when people see that, you know what, there are good people in the world. There are people that still do random acts of kindness. There are people that, help people out when they're in need. It's not as bad as sometimes the news wants us to think. You give people hope when you show them that you can do that random act of kindness, where you can see the good when no one else sees it. When you choose to see the good when no one else is even looking for it. So choose the good, and you'll give yourself hope, and you'll give other people hope when you do that. It's so powerful when you do it, so powerful. I say, someone gave me a compliment on my shirt today. Who gave me that compliment? Thank you. Yes, I was going to mention that today because one way you can do to seek the good is give a genuine compliment. And you said you love the shirt. It's great with the color or something like that. It was a genuine compliment. I could tell. And I was like, that's something you can do. Give someone a genuine compliment. Like really look and for whatever it is. That's a way to do a random act of kindness. So thank you for that. And a great example of what I'm talking about today. So seek the good. Continue to seek the good in everything. And watch how it changes your world, because it will give you hope and it will give everyone else hope as well when they see it. Third thing you got to do is, I mentioned this earlier, is you got to do your inventory. You're like, what does he mean by do your inventory? I love this quote. Believe in yourself and all that you are. Know that there is something inside of you that is greater than any obstacle. There's something inside of you that's greater than any obstacle. I love that. I love that. Believe in yourself. So what is doing your inventory? Doing your inventory is looking into your own life. Look into your own life and look at the times where you thought you weren't going to be able to make it, but you made it. Do that inventory. Look back and say, where was it a time when I thought that there was no way out, and then I found a way? Do your inventory. See, I can look back to when I was a partier, and I can look back to driving down 275 at 3 o'clock in the morning after drinking from 5 o'clock on and going about 75 miles an hour and falling asleep at the wheel. Yeah. And just ran off the road. See, I was a partier back then. So we start at 5. We'd pre-party before we go to the club. Anybody know what that is? Some of y'all know. Don't you ain't got to raise your hand if you don't want to. You know what time it is. So I'm saying, so I had a reason to drink every day. Monday was Monday Night Football. Tuesday was ladies' night. Wednesday was another ladies' night. Thursday was Thursday Night Football. Friday, you don't need an excuse. Saturday is college football, and Sunday is the NFL and a barbecue. I had a reason for every single day, and I took advantage of it every single day. But as of February 1st, 2025, it'll be 15 years since I've had a drink. Yeah, completely stopped. And I don't thank you for the applause, but I don't say it for the applause. I say it for this. I can look back in my life and say, if I can get past that from who I was, because I know who I was, then I can do anything. I'm doing my inventory. So I want you to do the same thing. When you thought you couldn't make it, but you did. Do your inventory. And you know what it does? See, when I say something like that, it gave somebody hope, maybe in here, right? It gives somebody hope. I want you to be able to look in your inventory and give yourself hope or give somebody else hope. When you do your inventory and say, hey, I was here, but I got over it. I thought I couldn't make it, but I did. There's something inside of you that's greater than any obstacle. That's what gives you hope. There's a light that's inside of you. When you see that light at the end of the tunnel, it's not coming from over there. It's coming from in here. It's coming from in here. There's a light inside of you. That's where it's coming from. So let your hope and the light that's inside of you shape the future of your life. Let that shape the future of your life. Let that shape your decisions. Let that move you forward. And when you do that, when you let that hope shine bright, you're going to give everyone else hope as well. If you want to change your life and have hope and give other people hope, do this. Know your truth and live authentically from it, because people need to see that. The world needs that. They need that. Seek the good. Be a good seeker. See the good in things and search for it. And if you search for it, you will find it. And then do your inventory. Look back in your life and say, when was there a time when I thought I couldn't make it, but I overcame it? If you do these things, you're going to give yourself hope. And also, you're going to give other people in the world hope as well. And that is what we're here to do. My name is T.Y. Thank you for allowing me to share this today. Remember, your time is always now. Thank you.